guys, I am super excited to be sharing this with you. This is my January 2022 setup. So I'm just going to start off with a little bit of paint. Basically I initially kind of had this idea that I would have like these painted blocks and then like use some stamps and stuff and use that as like my January front cover, but I actually ended up not liking the way that it turned out, I ended up covering it up, as you'll see in a moment. Basically these are like little scraps of paper and paint samples and stuff that I've been keeping for a while. I've been really like getting into the scrapbooking style. I just really like the way that it flows and it sort of continues, but I wanted to kind of go with a little bit more of a simplistic scrapbooking style, only because obviously I'm still at university and it does need to be practical, so I didn't want it to get too complicated to the point where I basically wouldn't be able to do a page or something within the week just because I don't have enough time. So I wanted it to be easy enough to recreate, which is why I actually quite liked the idea of having it as a scrapbooking style, because it doesn't take that much time to just quickly put these together. Obviously when you're designing a whole beginning of like a month, then it does take a bit of time, I just kind of wanted to play around a little bit and see what I could come up with using some of the equipment that I have, and it also uses some of that. I haven't really been able to use some of like my fancier paper, but anyway, so I'm just kind of like layering things and sort of seeing how they look together. I'm not really sure what the end product is going to be. I'm not really expecting anything specifically, but yeah, I'm just kind of adding things in and seeing what happens, but I actually really ended up liking the outcome of it, because I'm not really sure on what I want from it, I think it did probably take a little bit longer than it would have, but yeah, I'm just kind of testing things out and sort of seeing what works and what doesn't, and yeah, as you can see, I hope that you guys liked the outcome. I quite liked the outcome, but yeah, I'm actually missing the back of my stamps, which is why I was using my tweezers to help me. But yeah, I need to try and get another one or something because I can't find it. But yeah, basically it's just like experimentation and seeing what I like and what I don't like. And I actually really ended up liking the outcome of this. I thought it was really cute, and yeah, I'm really excited to use it now. I put the page in between, by the way, to stop the stamps from like running onto the other page. Anyway, my monthly calendar setup is obviously this whole. Anyway, moving on, I'm doing my monthly calendar setup, but yeah, as you can see, I started off just making a general guide for myself, and then I went in with a pen, but I actually ended up not liking this, so I went over it, but yeah, basically I tried like different pens and trying to get them neat, but I don't know, they just didn't quite turn out well. I think it's because my pen is too thin and I was basically trying to make a thick line and it just didn't look very good. But yeah, I tried and it didn't quite turn out well. I tried to like fix the solution by like drawing over them in sort of a weird messy graphic style. I had a bit of this craft paper and I thought that it would look so much better and just kind of give me a generally new page to work with basically. But yeah, so I stuck that paper over my terrible calendar and I started again. The paper wasn't quite like large enough to cover the whole space, but I actually didn't mind it. I quite liked the sort of juxtaposition of it, and also it kind of blends then into the other page and also brings back that whole idea of like collaging and stuff. But I quite liked the way that the January, so what I'm writing at the moment, basically like blended in with the two pages. I just thought it looked quite cool. But anyway, I have a tendency of like drawing things really thin and then they don't stand out enough, so I tend to like go over them over and over again, and sort of giving them that sort of fake calligraphy look. But anyway, I'm just drawing that guide for myself again, just so that I basically know, especially now that I don't have like the dots. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing any of the lines. But yeah, so I ended up actually missing, I didn't actually plan it out correctly because I had so much space left over at the end, which was quite annoying, but it's okay, it happens. But yeah, so I'm just decorating the page a little bit, as you can see, and then I started working on the other page. Usually I actually do like a full spread, like double spread of the calendar or like the month, but I actually wanted to have like the notes section next to it, that way I can kind of reference some of the things happening within the month, and if there's any like specific notes, so for example if I have an appointment, that I can kind of reference it back to my notes, because then I know like what I need to do. So for example, if I have an appointment and I need to bring something with me, that way I know, and I can then include it into my weekly stuff. So right now I'm just adding in like my key dates. I thought that it would be nice to actually have them written out, that way it's not like as confusing, or like it's not hard when I'm like trying to find something specific to find, because I can reference my key dates, find something specific, and then go, okay, so it's on this date, and then reference back to my calendar. So it's kind of like a bit of a calendar key, but like for the key dates, so things that I know are really important. But yeah, moving on, I'm actually doing a budgeting page. I have a tendency of making these and not using them, so one of my goals for 2022 is to actually make use of them, especially being a student. It is definitely huge help being in control and knowing where my money is going and what's happening with it. So yeah, I want to be more on top of it. So you might have noticed that I've folded one of the pages in. This is so that I have a bit of like a Dutch door effect, but basically the idea behind it is that I can write notes as I'm going along, so I can like write the things that I'm purchasing and stuff, and just basically have a bit more space to be able to do that, so I can be very specific. I find that when it's just on one page, it does tend to like there's quite a bit, so it doesn't necessarily, I tend to have another page basically. So yeah, I wanted to do it like this, that way I know that I have enough space, and I also wanted to kind of like track a bit of my savings, hence the boxes that I'm drawing as well. So yeah, the idea basically behind it is that I'm tracking and constantly aware of what I'm spending, how much I'm spending, and how much I'm saving. I think the way that you use this, or the way that or whether or not you use it basically, is different for everyone, because obviously we're not all in the same financial situations. So yeah, if this isn't quite useful to you, you don't have to use it. I know, for example, with Amanda Richley, initially like looking at her stuff, she did include it a couple of times, and then other times she didn't. So yeah, it just basically depends on you and your use, and whether or not you want to include it. So yeah, here I'm actually setting up like a page for me, just like as a me time kind of thing. Basically it's gonna be like a sort of postcards page almost, but like filled with Bible quotes. So the idea is that throughout the month I can add in some of my favourite Bible verses that I'm reading or something like that. I haven't quite like worked out what I want to do for this month in terms of like my Bible study, or like my personal study, so I'll see how that goes, whether or not I end up picking a certain chapter in the book and then just kind of going with that, or scattered reading. I'll see what happens. Right now I'm just writing out a Bible verse, and yeah, I just kind of thought that this would be a good Bible verse for this month, starting back and just needing a little bit of a pick me up every now and then, to keep me going. That my strength is within the Lord, and He is all I need, and yeah, He basically keeps me going. I didn't even realise that my hair kept going into shot for this part. Basically I tend to like write really close, or like my head tends to move closer every time I write things. I don't know why, but anyway, so I'm currently just putting bits of paper together for that like postcard idea, like little snapshots basically. But yeah, the idea is that every time I read something, that if there's something that stands out, that I can come and write it here and basically share it with myself, my future self, I find that there's usually like a specific verse that stands out to me in that particular time, and sometimes I actually forget about that. So I thought it would be nice to have a space to be able to include those. But yeah, moving on, I'm finally creating my first weekly spread. I actually don't do like the mood trackers and stuff. I used to have them in, but I just don't use them. I think it's more a thing of when I'm doing it, I just don't tend to be honest with myself about how I'm feeling, mostly because I know that most of the time I'm stressed, just because of university work, so I feel like it just brings me more down, and because I know that I'm stressed and I don't constantly want to be reminded of it. So yeah. My weekly spread is very simple. I basically just kind of use it for notes. I don't really get too into detail about it, just because I need it to work for me and it needs to be simple. When it's overcomplicated, I don't use it. So without further ado, here's the flick through. I hope that you liked it. If you have any questions or want to see anything specific, just let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, I hope that you guys have a fabulous New Year's and that you enjoy this year that we have in front of us. Thank you so much for watching and following me on this journey. Please like and subscribe.